Let's Talk Oculus, a VR podcast, is proudly sponsored by the good folks at Patreon. If you want to support the show, join us on patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus.
Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus, episode 156. I am once again here with live open mic, but for all of you missing that sweet, sweet British accent, Dan will be back next week. Also, please stay tuned after my podcast with live open mic here for my interview with Jan from Oktoberfest. Mike, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me back. I guess I didn't screw it up too bad. It's filling in for Dan last time, so I appreciate it.
You definitely helped our numbers, and I'm saying that without having looked at any of the numbers. My gut tells me that you did. My gut tells me you helped us. Yeah,
I had a good time.
Sadly,
you had
Bradley. Yeah,
we had a good time. That's the important thing. We had a good time. It was a fun discussion.
Exactly.
All right.
So this week in part 1, we've got the news. In part 2, we've got what we've been playing, and Mike has been playing a lot of Batman, so we're gonna have some Batman discussion. And then
news just broke 10 minutes ago, by the way, before we started recording, or like half an hour ago. So
yeah, Batman has accidentally released early, so there's some of that. And in part 3, we have games out this week and Walkabout tournament results. So, Mike, are you ready for the news?
Let's go.
Let's do it. Once again, per usual for me hosting here, I like to have some non-gaming news. So, in Minneapolis, a Minneapolis-based healthcare place ran a pilot program for a newly developed immersive virtual reality capability in its nurse residency program. Well, that is a lot of words to essentially mean that the nurses are being trained using Oculus Quest 2s, and they're going through a simulation, and the idea is that when you run through the simulation in VR, there's less personal feelings and all that when you're trying to rate or grade someone. And so it's more neutral. And I just thought this whole thing was pretty cool that like they're using Quest 2's VR in this training scenario for nursing. What do you think of this? There I go again.
I'm not as cool as Dan, but I'll try to fill in here. Okay, so for those who don't know, who have just been in the VR for gaming, this has been a thing for years. VR has been very big in like the education sector, in the medical sector, in the manufacturing, the logistics sector. My company's done some work with it. Unbeknownst to a lot of you, a lot of VR developers, this is how they pay the bills while they're making games. Because let's just say you're shell games and you're working on, I think, Among Us VR and I Expect You to Die 3 came out within about a year of each other. You're probably not selling hundreds of thousands of copies of I Expect You to Die 2, which is 2 years old at that point, to keep all your employees paid while you're making your next game. So some of that comes from investment funding, but some of that comes from doing enterprise work like this. So yeah, definitely like there are a lot of hospitals that have done virtual training. And part of it is because you have to think, okay, if you're training a group of nurses on how to use a certain piece of equipment, there's probably only 1 or 2 of those in the room. Now you got 20 nurses. That's a long instructional with 18 people just standing there waiting for their turn. And then the instructor going, nope, hit that button first. Hit that. There you go. Like that. Do that in VR. You can get 20 headsets and knock it all out in like an hour. And then you just have your instructor walking through virtually and just walking them through it. So there's a lot of, I don't want someone learning how to, run an IV into my arm virtually. I would prefer that that's probably still live. But when it comes to like, learning different types of medication, where certain things are, how to properly like set up a room or set up a piece of machinery, it works perfect for that. So,
well, I guess let me expand a little bit on what they actually used it for. So the sessions included an orientation to the equipment and the controls, obviously, followed by a scenario focused on caring for a patient admitted to the adult medical surgical inpatient unit with, Yelenophritis. That's what I'm going to go with there. I think that P must be silent.
GG's. I was not reading that out loud.
Yeah, right. Upon completion, participants then work through a second scenario of a now stable patient. They were cured of their yelonophritis from the initial scenario and added a second patient who was admitted with high blood glucose levels. Much easier to pronounce. After each session, participants divided into 2 groups and engaged in guided reflection debrief led by instructors. So they were getting like patient training, if you will, through this. Just overall, a really cool thing.
It's
I love that this happens. Yeah. And if you're interested in finding this study, can be found in the AACN, the Advanced Critical Care Journal, and it is titled Competency Assessment of New Registered Nurses Using Immersive Virtual Reality. There you have it, Mike.
Yeah, like I said, that a lot of companies do this work, and it's really meaningful work because you're really it's using VR in a way that's not just gaming, it's extending it. That's why the enterprise business is so huge. That's where HTC made a lot of their money in their early days. They did a lot of stuff like this. Military training is another big one.
Yeah. The grants. Anybody that'll grant your grant, government, defense, all that.
Absolutely.
All right. Shall we head into story number 2?
Yes, sir.
Which is that Meta Raybans are the top-selling product at many Raybans stores.
I love it.
That is to say that Ray-Ban Meta glasses are the top-selling product in 60% of Ray-Ban stores in EMEA. EMEA, E-M-E-A, is a geographical region encompassing Europe, the Middle East, and Africa, and is typically used as a global division by companies. And this revelation comes from Essilor Luxottica's CFO, Stefano Grassi, on the company's Q3 2024 earnings call. Essilor Luxottica, pardon me, is Ray-Ban's parent company. I prefer the kid's name there, Ray-Ban. Which has a near monopoly on the eyewear market worldwide and owns other iconic brands such as Oakley. It's funny, I have Oakley's and I have the Meta Ray-Bans. Those are my 2 go-tos. Obviously, since they have the entire market. And EMEA region is an early indicator that consumers are willing to pay more for smart glasses if they are stylish and widely available to try on. Mike, have you tried a pair of these yet?
I have tried a pair. If I had not had to shell out $1,500 to fix my car in the last 6 weeks, I would own a pair right now. Everyone I know who has has a pair of those swears by them. And to know that Meta's at the top of the market, that's why Meta just restructured all the Reality Labs, because the sales of these glasses has far exceeded their expectations to the point where they're like, okay, we know we got a hit here. Lightning, we just call it lightning in the bottle. We got to capitalize on it. So they restructured Reality Labs. Unfortunately, some people in the gaming department lost their jobs in the course of that. But they're pretty much going where an unintended revenue stream just popped up for them and they're chasing it. So that's awesome.
100%.
Yeah,
I do have a pair. I generally prefer to wear my Oakleys. They do feel lighter, and I'm wearing my glasses all day at work while I drive.
Right.
But I do like to throw them on when I go do activities with the girlfriend and the kid, or if for certain, they play a certain role in my life. I'll say that, but they're definitely not an all-day daily driver for me.
Yeah. Do you have the transition lenses or just the regular sunglass ones?
Just the regular sunglass ones, which is in part why, because I'm not going to wear those inside. I have also heard though, so I was kind of upset that I didn't get the transitions. I was just hasty and was like, yeah, I'll just get these.
Yeah.
And I have heard the transitions don't get that dark as sunglasses.
Okay.
This could be, just anecdotal, and then I'm just taking that and running with it because I don't have them.
Right.
But that is what I've heard. And so, yeah, the sunglasses is not much utility for me inside.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. I'm hoping that, Santa will drop one under the Christmas tree this year. That's the hope.
Yeah, I do like them, and they are way better than I did have the year one model or whatever, the OG ones, and they are an upgrade and pretty much like the Quest 2 over the Quest 1 and Quest 3 over Quest 2. It's you can tell they're an upgrade in every way.
I'm curious if those are going to be like iPhones and tablets where we're just going to get a new model every year. And 7 years from now we'll be on the Ray-Ban 9s.
That's possible. Yeah, what was this one, like 2 years or so?
2 years, yeah.
Yeah. 2 years feels more reasonable, but I do in order to iterate, you need some sort of new. Even Apple, I feel like, is going to take away from. I saw that they're thinking of stepping away from the yearly release.
Well, we'll see. Like, I think when it comes to like smartphones specifically, like the screens of, like, there's no, how can I put it?
We've reached we're starting to max out or whatever. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Like we're not making generational leaps each year now.
Precisely.
So yeah, they can afford to slow down, and my wallet would greatly appreciate it. So I'm an iPhone guy, so yeah, I'm like, I gotta have it.
Me too, bro. Me too.
Yeah.
I just upgraded actually to a 16 so I could try messing around with some spatial recording, and I just haven't done it yet. But
doing it on Friday. My shipment's already on the way.
Nice. Yeah, and actually I got my last iPhone, the 12 Pro, because it had the LiDAR, and I could do I would scan rooms and then put them in VR chat and all that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's cool.
we've gotten
about that. Way off topic.
We've gotten way off the Meta Ray-Bans, yeah. But that is it.
Sorry
Meta Ray-Bans. No worries. We love tangents here on LTO.
Yeah.
And I'm sure all the listeners love them as well. Next news story is less of a one particular news story and more of a general. It's Halloween time. Live Open Daily just had a Halloween update video. I've been playing some Halloween update, not videos, games. And I just want to mention some good Halloween updates and just game in general. To start off with a couple from the LOD, we had Pencil, which added in, I think it was like 6 different Halloween type of drawings, a witch, pumpkin, insert
vampire,
other Halloween things.
There was a cauldron. I saw 6 when I was going through your footage. Samson, by the way, the footage of my video was provided by Samson. I actually time-lapsed it, even though it didn't come out as smooth as I wanted it to. But yeah, I time-lapsed it so you can see him do the whole drawing at the very end there.
Yeah, I drew a pretty good pumpkin. I'm not to like toot my own horn, but
I was pretty impressed
for how quickly I was doing that. What I needed to do was really get in there and smudge the lines so it would kind of blur. It's the little bit of art I learned in high school.
Yeah, I mean, Samson's video, I'm looking at the raw now, was 19 minutes long. And about 5 minutes of that was him showing the book and flipping through the pages that kind of cut through. And then like probably 14 minutes that's him drawing that pumpkin. I'm like, for 14 minutes, that's proof that's proof of the concept for how good that app is. That you were able to do that in 14 minutes.
That's true. Well,
and it come out that good.
You asked me for some footage, and I'm just recording the beginning, and I was like, maybe I should see how one whole like what it's like. And it is kind of the little Leo guy gives you advice as you're drawing, and they really break it down step by step for the pumpkin, and I presume all the others.
I can't draw in a straight line to save my life, so an app like that would be very useful for me.
It is pretty good, and it's been growing. Like I found that app really early, and it's incredible how much work they put into it. Next up, Hyperdash. I know you hopped into this one. You want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure. So they announced that they excuse me. They announced that they actually released it a couple of days later. They had some problems with it, but they announced on their Discord and on Steam and Meta that they have released their Halloween map. And with that comes some mutators. So if you're not a first-person shooting fan, the mutator is basically a way for you to alter the way the game goes. So for Halloween, they added, Pumpkinhead, which is just what it sounds like. That means that everyone's head turns into a pumpkin during the match. It's pretty funny. Vampire one where you could leech health or other stuff off of your opponents. And a mist that basically envelops the whole map in a fog. And there's a Halloween map. The map itself isn't super Halloweeny, but they put like pumpkins around and stuff like that. So really the mutators are the fun of it. But yeah, if you have not been in Hyperdash for a while, go check that out. They're doing a special event tied to it. So, in-game currency and things like that with it. just to throw this out there, if you are wondering if your game got a Halloween update, click on all of your apps. So bring up all of them, not just ones that are installed, and just scroll. Because most developers will update their icon, their cover icon, when they do new updates. So all I did for about 5 of these that I found was I just scrolled my entire library and saw, ooh, Halloween update. Ooh, there's a pumpkin there. And I just stopped to wrote down the name of the game and that kept going.
That's pretty good. I will say the pumpkin heads in Hyperdash are annoying because it's like a mask over your player. So when you're first person, like you see the pumpkin, it's not just something you see on other people.
Yeah.
But, outside of it taking away from your vision, it's a cool idea. I do want to play with that mist now, though. I do want to play with the mist.
Yeah. My aim and visibility is kind of crappy in first person shooters to begin with. So it didn't really work that great for me. But I mean, the game was a lot of fun, and it's for as old as that game is compared to their new hotness, which is Breachers that everyone loved last year and people still play. Samson plays every Friday night. I'm glad they're still updating their older games too. They didn't just say, "Oh, Breachers is out. Let's go to our new game."
For sure. We could use more maps in Breachers, but it is good to see that they are caring about all of their babies at the same time. Next up, we have Dungeons of Eternity, which I hopped into with Mike, and they added a whole slew of cosmetics that you can find in chests, as well as some DLC. There was a zombie body and a skeleton body, as well as some knightly armor, if you will. Correct?
Yes, there are 2 paid packs. The knightly one, a skeleton avatar one, and the zombie one, which is really cool because you can see like half of the torso torn out. So it's like entrails hanging out. It's pretty cool. The skeleton one, you look just like all the skeletons you kill in that game. Samson was kind enough to put on the pumpkin head because he found one in one of the chests we opened and ball it for us for the video. So that was cool.
This was good use of Pumpkinhead because other people could see Pumpkin, but I could not see Pumpkin.
Yes. Yeah, we actually saw your face. It was like you hollowed out the pumpkin and stuck it over your head because we could see your face and your beard was hanging out the bottom of it. It was actually pretty funny.
Yeah, I love that. It's so cool.
But no, I love when games do stuff like this, when they just redecorate and just kind of freshen up the look. Because you look at the same lobby over and over again, it just kind of gets boring. So,
and honestly, it had been months, maybe even upwards of a year since I'd been in dungeons, since like the holiday one. Like
wow.
I worked hard to get myself up to like 42 or whatever I'm at. And then I just like everybody sort of like moved on to other games. I was like, all right, I'll get in eventually. And yes, it'd been a minute.
Just never got around to it. Yeah.
There's too many games out there, Let me just mention a couple others because this one I didn't even know about. Lego Brick Tales. I saw it in an upload article.
I saw that too.
A whole new quest line, if you will. So if you have Lego Brick Tales, there's another reason to get in that one.
Yeah, I saw that too, and I was mad I missed that when I was putting up the video. I was like, it's too late for me to go edit this now and go sit down gameplay, but it's okay. It's out there. So.
And we're getting it out there via LTO now.
Exactly.
So we good.
Yeah, but people go back in your old existing games. I know it's exciting. Batman's out now a day early, and got Metro Behemoth coming up. But a lot of your existing games get updates all the time, so go check them out. See what's out there.
For sure. Then there's Grab, which also got some Halloween cosmetics. Medieval Dynasty. Can you talk a little bit about that one? Because I know you're big in that game.
So Medieval Dynasty added a quest. So there's a new side quest in the game. It's not part of the main campaign. It's essentially a scavenger hunt. And there are 15 locations dotted around the map. And you go there, you dig up a chest that has a skull in it. And some of them have new pumpkin related recipes. Like the second one I dug up had a pumpkin soup or a pumpkin stew, pumpkin seeds. So I could plant my own pumpkins in my farm. And I can't remember what the third item is. And I've done 5 more since then. So you get like incremental items each time. I've not finished the quest yet, so I don't know what the end game of it is, but that's what it is. They just added a new side quest to the game. And they changed some of the music up. There's pumpkins in different spots now over the map. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
There's a skullhead xylophone that you can buy. It's a new item. You just exactly. You just play xylophone. Yeah, go look at the trailer for it. After you finish this podcast, let me phrase that. After you finish the podcast, go look at the trailer for it. You'll see someone just playing the xylophone of skulls. It's pretty funny.
I will. I will check that out. And well, I don't own the game actually, so I won't go play it myself.
Yeah, but listeners, finish the podcast, finish talking, listening to us, and then go check it out.
Precisely. Most people, I think, listen while they're driving anyway. At least I do.
Yeah.
and when I do, everybody does, right?
Yeah.
Next up, Oktoberfest, the official game. Interview with Jan after this podcast. Stay tuned. They threw in a little Halloween update, as did Real VR Fishing, which the Real VR Fishing one I do want to hop into, and I haven't been in yet. It's a fun game.
That was one that I saw that they were updating, but at the time I couldn't find like any information on it. And then I saw some stuff in socials and I was like, damn it. So, but yeah, there's 15 games in my video. There's 5 more that aren't in my video that are on this list. So that's 20 games already. They got Halloween updates. So again, check your libraries, people. There's some more content to be had out there.
For sure.
And I like that all these aren't spooky games. They're not scary games that added on. Like they're getting into the spirits. I mean, like Grab is not a scary game.
Yeah.
But they changed it up. Sky Climb is not a scary game, but they changed up the menu and stuff like that. Outta Hand. Like some of these fun, lighter games are getting those updates. I love that.
Yeah, I do. It just gives you one more reason to just hop in, see, get in the mood. You know, it's like decorating your house, right? You want to get in that seasonal mood. You like decorating your house. You hop into the DOE lobby, you know? And I'm a big fan of the holiday updates that we often get. Yeah. So those are right around the corner.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm typing. Somebody's camera might be bouncing. My bad.
Yeah, no worries. No worries. You're good. I think that just about wraps up part 1, though. You have anything more to add there?
No, just I'll say it again because I speak to someone who works for a developer. It's harder to get attention on an update than a new release. So check out your old games because there's always so many developers are updating and that stuff just flies under the radar and it sucks. From a developer standpoint and from a player standpoint, there's some new stuff in there. One of your favorite games you haven't touched in a while because you don't know that it's there. So
it's almost like in the installed, uninstalled, recent or whatever, they need a recently updated.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff Meta could, don't get me started on how bad that store is, but there's a lot of stuff Meta could do to make that stuff more readily apparent. That's why I said updating the icons, which is developer controlled. That's one way you can know right away if something changed. But yeah, check your library.
All right. That's it for part 1. And I'll see you in part 2 where we talk about what we've been playing and Batman.
Hey, we know public lobbies in VR games can be a bit toxic, feel a bit empty at times. That's why we created the Let's Talk Oculus Discord, a friendly community that you can join for multiplayer meetups, general VR chat, the game, and chat about VR, fitness motivation, and there's even a very impressive 3D printing channel. Join over 100 of our community members in the Let's Talk Oculus Discord for free. The link is right in the description.
Welcome back to part 2 of episode 156. Figured I'd throw that in. Still here with Live Open Mike. He hasn't decided to leave yet, thank God.
Yeah. I got the numbers wrong, sorry. If you're watching the video, just ignore that.
Yeah, Mike's got number problems, all right? It's late. He's got to stay up all night editing. It's just the beginning. But let's get into a little. You want to start with something you've been playing?
Sure, Batman. I'm in the MetaQuest Creative Program, and we got access to the game on Friday. So a bunch of us have pretty much been, no sleeping in and trying to get through as much as possible. I went out of town to go visit my daughter for a couple days, so I've been trying to get it done. And then it is 9:49 p.m. on Monday night as we're recording this podcast. Dan, you can edit that out if you need to. And we were informed that Meta released the game early. We don't know if that was intentional or unintentional. Right now, it seems unintentional. But for anyone who bought a 3S or a 3, a new 3S or a 3 and was going to get Arkham Shadow for free, all of them got the game early. So about an hour and a half ago, we started seeing streams of the game pop up everywhere. We're like, what the hell is going on? Because the embargo was for tomorrow morning for all of us. So then we got a notification that embargo is gone and we can release whatever we want, but a lot of us are still editing. So I'll be up all night editing. Having said that, as far as the game goes, it's awesome. It's so good. And speaking as a fan of the Arkham games, there's a couple of things that didn't really translate well to VR, but for the most part, they nailed all the aspects of like what you expect the Arkham game to be. The gadgets, the combat's really, really amazing. I can't say enough good things about it, and I haven't even finished it yet. I'm now 11 hours into the game, so
how much?
What I played, it's been great.
Are you sweating after you're playing these?
Yeah. I mean, look at me, I'm out of shape, so actually throwing fists myself is
that's fair.
It's not
That's
bad,
fair.
but the game it doesn't rate you based on how hard you threw the punch. It's just throwing the punch in the right location. Because Arkham Combat, for those who haven't played the flat games, it's not just a like button press and like a brawl for all. No, there's counters. You can't hit certain enemies from the front. There's some you have to stun before you can hurt them properly. There's takedowns and things like that. It's kinetic, but it's very strategic, and they've translated all that to VR really, really well. But since you're actually physically doing the motions yourself, it takes a while to adjust to that. But once you get it and you're flowing, I mean, I think because you play synth riders, you'll actually do very well at that because it's really just getting into a flow. Honestly, like it feels rhythm game-esque without the grinding of leaderboards and all that crap. So it's really good. It needs some patches. Definitely got some bugs in there, but it's excellent.
Day one patches, nothing out of the ordinary there.
Yeah, for sure. So,
I do have another question though. What are cutscenes like?
Some of the cutscenes are directly in VR. So you walk into a room and there's a character waiting there to talk to you. And you're either standing there listening to them, or they do a really good job of the character asking you to do something. Hey, can you grab that thing over there for me? Like giving you something to do in most of the scenes. And then there are some cutscenes, there are flashbacks that take place in front of you, but they do it from an overhead view. So instead of you like looking straight ahead and you're like looking down at someone sitting in front of you, something like that, they changed it so you're actually looking down at them like a god view. It's really cool. They're basically not making you change your head position when you do it. I'm not going to spoil what they are for those who haven't played the game, but there are some flashback sequences that work like that. So yeah, it's kind of how they did Asgard's Wrath 2, where some of it is you're just kind of there along for the ride, and some of that is just happening, and some of the story stuff is happening directly around you. And even though you can't interact with the world, you still feel like you're present in it. So it's really, really well done.
Nice. And difficulty wise, are you struggling? Did you have to boost it up or?
I don't boost games up. I am not a sweat. That's not my life. No, I'm playing on normal and I'm progressing fine. I've died a few times, but that was just more me making a dumb decision or me doing the equivalent of, okay, I was supposed to block there, but I got greedy and wanted to knock this guy out. So instead of blocking, this guy hit me with a stun baton and killed me. I should have blocked when the game tells you to block. There's a little blue icon on the HUD, and people have seen this if you watch the dev videos, that tells you, hey, put your arm up. Like it'll come up on your right side, your left side, or both. You have to like lift your left arm, lift your right arm, or lift both of your arms to block what's coming from you from off screen. And then the game just flows you into that enemy so you can start fighting them. So when you get 8 people in the room at once, you feel like a badass because you're hitting the guy twice, blocking, vaulting over another guy, throwing the batarang at another guy. It's really awesome.
And last question here. Boss fights, are they present? And
yes.
Have you experienced them, and how was it?
Yes. I think the boss fights in the Arkham games are some of my favorite boss fights in video games. Mind you, I don't play from software games because, again, I'm not a sweat. Your boy's not a sweat. And I think these are some of the best boss fights I've seen done in VR. It's why I love Asgard's Wrath 2 so much. I love big, bombastic boss fights. This game's got them in spades. So
nice. Well, that's Batman for you. Get out there and buy it if you're interested. And if you're not, we're about to talk about some other games.
Yep. You want to go back and forth? Or you want me to just go through my whole list?
Let's. I like the back and forth myself.
Okay, go for it.
But I'm going to lead with one that I see you have also kind of played, in that I hopped into Demeo Battles, and I did something that I haven't really done much of, but I was scheduled to play VR at 10 o'clock, and it was about 9:35, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to play a quick Demeo Battles game before I head into Hyperdash later. And so I just did a quick single player got my XP up a little bit. So what happened was this went on sale a few weeks ago or a month ago on the Quest store, and I bought it for like $6. But I had been playing on Steam. I'm at 20 some hours. I've unlocked things though, but I've got to do all that
all over again. Yeah,
exactly. I don't have any of the characters.
Can't fight without Urok, man. I need Urok.
Is that the final one you unlock?
It's the last one
beast?
You get.
Yeah,
it's the last one you get.
I've heard he's cheap.
I've cheesed many fights with him.
Yeah, I have not had I've not been blessed to play with him yet.
Yeah, Urok's fun.
But yeah, Demeo Battles. If you're ever looking for a little taste of Demeo in quick little bites, I very much recommend it. It's 2-on-2, or there's a single player mode where it's 2-on-2. You're just in control of two of them against a computer player, and it uses all the characters and the cards from Demeo. Regular Demeo can be played on the Quest with mixed reality mode. So this was a thing that came up for me as well. It kept automatically putting the board on my table. And then I'd have to grab it and move it. And I was like, why does it keep pinning over there?
Yeah, it's using scene presence now. That irked me a little bit because Demeo does the same thing. So yeah. I just removed the table from my play space, so I didn't see that there was a table there. And yeah,
that's what I might have to do next. Because I get the idea of it, right? You want to play with people around a table,
right,
and make sure it doesn't move. Totally makes sense. But I'm here alone. I want to be moving this thing.
Right. When I was up there with my daughter on Sunday, it's Demeo adjacent. When I was up there with my daughter on Sunday, I took her to Quest 3S. I wanted her to try it. So while she's off, we were in a park, and a shaded park, by the way. I wasn't out in the sun. But so she's off to the side playing the Britney Spears pack for Beat Saber, and I'm playing Demeo Battles out in the park so I can make the board as big as I wanted to and just walk through the area picking up pieces and throwing dice and stuff. It was so much fun. Dude,
you can make that thing surprisingly large. It can basically take up your entire floor. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. You want to talk a little bit about Demeo, or was that all you got?
No, I play Demeo I play Demeo every week now. Because I've taught certain friends how to play. So now those friends were like, hey, you want to run the floor real quick? Yeah, sure. I got some time. Not tonight. Tonight's editing, but
you'll run individual floors and then save and come back.
Yeah, because not everyone's got 2 to 2.5 hours to run a full book. And if I'm playing by myself, because I know I can think ahead to what the next 3 characters are going to do, I can get through an entire book in about 90 minutes now. Some of them are a little bit longer, depending on the boss fight. But if I'm playing with friends, it's usually a 2 to 3 hour campaign, if not longer.
Yeah,
so
I'm one of those people that you're like, why didn't you think about what you were going to do when it was my turn? And I'm like, because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely takes longer to play with friends. So sometimes we'll run a floor for 30 minutes and then we'll come back. We'll save that and come back and finish the run later.
Yeah, I was just curious because I've never actually saved it and gone back to it, but I've heard people have so many saved rooms and then they just decide to start over instead of going back.
Yeah, you get a max of 4. So I have one game going with some friends. I have another game going with some friends. Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, Demeo's awesome. I don't have much else to say about it. I love it. It's great. So is Demeo Battles.
Yeah. It's been a while since I played normal Demeo, but I do think just the quickness level wise, I at this point prefer Battles.
Yeah. Not everyone's got the time to sit down and do a full campaign like that. I get that. That's why the game exists. So
yeah, exactly. All right, back to me. Well, I've talked about Hyperdash, and so I'm not going to talk about that again here, but I hopped into Breachers again Friday night. They also sort of have a Halloween update in air quotes in that the masks of the people change. One looks kind of skeleton-y. I forget what the other one looks like, honestly, but it's Halloween themed. But
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say it was as fun as always. We've been doing a lot more control point to warm up. But yeah, I can't get enough of Breachers with my core group of 10 to 15 friends that normally plays it.
It'd be so cool if they did a map in a haunted house.
You're right.
Imagine that. So you got stuff jumping out from the corner around you and you're trying to not get, shot in the butt too. So yeah, that'd be cool.
like picturing like sounds too, because so much of Breachers, that would actually probably really piss people off because people like rely on the sounds. But I would love like creaks that randomly happen just to throw people off.
Yeah.
I'm less the competitive guy and more like, yeah, let's try this weird stuff.
I'm the least competitive person you will ever meet in your life. I am there for the experience. If it's a story game, I'm there for the fun, for playing with friends. So anything that adds to either one of those, I'm good.
I'm sorry, Mike, but I am less competitive than you.
No, no. You play Synth Riders.
That's fair, and I have done some leaderboard chasing on it, but it's been a minute. There's no way I'm. Yeah.
Between the two of us, who's running the Walkabout mini golf tournament?
That's fair, but my Walkabout, I need a new name for it because tournament makes it sound like, you know, you're trying to win, and really it's just all about participation here at the LTO Walkabout tournament. All right.
Who DM'd me to ask me to join the bocce ball tournament?
Well, that's because it's been so long since I played bocce, and I like squashy, and I want to play my games, you know?
Just messing with you.
Come on, man.
But no, the second one challenges me to a game, I'm like, yeah. And second one challenges me to a game, I'm done. My next game is Undead Citadel. By the way, I have more games than what's on the list, so we can get through your full list back and forth.
Okay, perfect.
Undead Citadel, I played the Quest version of that. I was supposed to review it, and I turned it down because that is one of the worst Quest ports I have played of a PC VR game. So I have two primary problems with it. One, if you remember back in like the N64 PlayStation 1 days where you would walk towards a rock and it'd be like really, really smooth. And as you got closer to it, you would see like a wave come over it of all the detail. Yeah. Now imagine that happening with all wood planks and houses all around you over and over and over again as you're walking towards stuff. Tables, rugs, stuff like that. This game has that.
Incredibly disorienting, huh?
Yes, it is. I thought I was in like some Westworld simulation or something when I was playing it. I already knew the story of the game, so I knew I wasn't. But so yeah, there's that. And I mean, the combat's all fine. It's there. It's a little wiggle physicsy, but it's not bad. And the other thing's the story. You know, I'm a story guy. I'm a single player guy. So the developers said they wanted to make a game with melee combat in that medieval style, but unlike Blade and Sorcery, even though that has changed since they started this game, they wanted to give it a full story and a campaign and a compelling character journey. There's a story there, but it's threadbare. And I guess my expectations were a little bit too high going into it.
Well, it sounds like they were emphasizing it.
Yeah, they were emphasizing it when they could have emphasized the fact that you get 80 different weapons in the game. And just like any kind of action RPG, you're going to get stronger as you go along, things like that. But instead they emphasize, no, we have a story and there's this massive character journey and you're embodying this character and he's on a quest to do this. And no, it's not. The story is there to get you from one spot to the other, and that's it. And that just having someone who plays a ton of RPGs, JRPGs, ARPGs, all those, I kind of had an expectation of better storytelling than I got. So this was a letdown for me, but part of that was what I expected going into it.
Had you played on PC VR before this game?
Yes, I had. So I knew the story going in. So I was evaluating the Quest port, and as a Quest port, it's like, whew.
Would you recommend the PC VR one?
If you like games,
this one?
If you like games of that type, if you like melee combat games, if you like medieval fantasy, dark fantasy, whatever, it's fine. If you're looking for an example of deep, rich storytelling in the VR, this ain't it.
Not that. Yeah.
No.
I got you. Well, speaking of deep, rich storytelling, I got into Smash Drums, which has absolutely none of that. So Smash Drums, Smash Drums is a fantastic rhythm game for all of you that don't, and now that those of you that do. It's a game where you have a drum set in front of you, and well, there's really like 3 different ways to play. One of the ways is you have a drum set in front of you, and then much like Guitar Hero, beats come at you, and your drums are all different colors. I don't mess around with that mode. I play the old traditional Smash Drums mode, where drums are sort of like coming at you with cymbals, and they're all in a certain space, but kind of not. And I have a hard time focusing on the colors and the drums, whereas this, it's just a drum and I just have to hit it. And I like it. I like this game a lot. It's got like 5 or 6 DLCs now. They're all great. It's got like 70s, 80s, 90s, and a couple others. I don't think they're decades.
So
yeah.
Where would you rank it on the rhythm game hierarchy? You play a lot of rhythm games.
Ooh. I think, well, realistically, God, there's so many out there. There's so many out there. But I'd probably Synth Rider's top. Smash Drums might take the second.
Ooh.
Then probably a Beat Saber. Ragnarok, that one's also pretty fun. And then it's a tough call, but I do like Audio Trip. And Audio Trip, I saw on Instagram they're getting some sort of big update coming soon. And then this one's kind of gone now, but I did used to really like Audica.
Audica had a steep learning curve, so I know a lot of people didn't stick with it, because if you think about other rhythm games, they're a little bit easier to pick up than that one is.
I will admit, I never got to expert on Audica. I played like the easy ones, and then I tried another one. I was like, how do I even shoot? How do I do that?
I feel like all rhythm games are kind of like easy to learn, hard to master, but that one, the hard to master, is like up there compared to other games.
Yeah, facts.
Sure.
And I'm not sure, listeners out there, that you can even buy this game anymore. So
yeah,
ignore Audica and check out all the other ones. But yeah, Smash Drums, it's in part because, I'm not going to lie, because of the mixed reality. Like the fact that when I'm playing a rhythm game, I don't want to hit shit. You know what I mean? And a lot of times I'm using them for quick breaks at work or things like this, where I just like need to be able to see around me. So the fact that like Beat Saber, Ragnarok, or all these others don't have that, like it, even outside of me preferring Synth Riders and Smash Drums, the mixed reality is a big reason.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Back to you.
You're still waiting on that Beat Saber mixed reality, aren't you?
Dude, honestly, at this point, I don't know that it's even going to come, because
That won't surprise me.
What is going on, though? The meta owns them. Meta wants to push mixed reality in like every other app that's not their own. I don't get it.
They haven't put that in. They have put voice chat in. You still use meta calls for Beat Saber multiplayer. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, that makes no sense either. What about like PlayStation? If you're playing, do you have to do like the Sony chat or whatever?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know. I'll ask a friend of mine who plays Beat Saber on PSVR.
Yeah.
I'll ask. My next game is Metamorphosis. This came out either last week or the week before. It's about a game where you are playing as a bug. And pun fully intended here, it's buggy AF. The creators who were invited to play the game early, we pretty much bombarded them with a list of things that need to be fixed. They are now on their, as of today, 5th patch since the game got released, and there's another one coming later on this week. It is as
big
rough
patches or like little stuff.
Big patches, not like hot fixes and quality of life. No, big patches. It's about as rough of a release as you could. It's a nightmare scenario for them. So I have not put out my video because I'm trying to give them time to fix the game. But yeah,
I don't think I've seen much on it, and I guess this explains why.
A lot of us waited. For the patches. Because we were like, we want to support this game because we love the concept, and this is a flat game that's being ported to VR, and we want to support that. But it just needs to get better. So
are there issues with that port, you think? Like that's like,
yeah, a lot of the stuff that's happening is VR specific. Like adapting certain movements to VR, and it's just not working. Like clipping through walls when you're trying to climb them, things like that. Just stuff that's not good. So yeah, hopefully they get it together. So I'm not gonna play again until next week because I was not happy with what I played. And I'm not being I was asked to review it, so I'm reviewing it. And no, guys, fix it.
I do hope that game goes through a bit of a metamorphosis itself.
Y'all have a good night. All right, thanks, Samson. Thanks for having me. All
right. Next up, I'm skipping Pencil because I talked about it earlier. I'm going right into Racket Club. Racket Club. All right, I've gotten a good amount of my friends to buy this game, and so now when I'm in the mood to play Racket Club, I just ping. I'm like, hey, anybody want to play Racket Club? And boom, today was like 75 degrees outside here for some godforsaken reason, climate change, and And I played outside, and it was great. I needed I just needed a little bit. We played like 15 minutes, like 3 games or so. They have badminton now, also the normal Racket Club, and they have a pickleball section if you're into that. I prefer just the normal Racket Club game. I don't know what they call it.
Yeah.
But it's whatever their made up game was. And I always play mixed reality, so I know my space. But I really enjoy it. A lot of times people will join in because there's like 4 open clubs, each with 15 people, and you can do private rooms if you want, once your friends come online. But the other day I was waiting for a buddy to join me, and I just hopped in and I just started watching people play, because you can just stand and watch anywhere. And it's pretty good in that regard as well, socially. And I'm not much for the social games, especially with people I don't know. But I'd say 95% of the people I met in this game have been excellent, very nice, and just positive, and like want to play or willing to help you or whatever. So Racket Club, check it out. I think the fact that it's not free probably keeps out a lot of the kids.
Yeah, and Resolution does a really good job of moderation and keeping good people around them. Like, even if you go in their Discord, there's no crappy players there. There's no crappy players. There's no crappiness there. There's
I understand.
There's no trash talk or anything. It's just people like, hey, I want to play a game, so I like it. And their whole Discord is like that.
I will say I have gotten into instances where I've hopped into somebody new to Racket Club, and they clearly do not have the space for Racket Club.
Oh, no.
And so you'll just like hit it into like a side, and they just don't move. Then they'll start to like get frustrated or something. You're like, I think you just need more room, buddy.
Yeah,
like,
I couldn't play it in my room because I have a 4x4 space basically. So when I did,
it's too small.
When I played, I did in my driveway, and just like you, I had mixed reality up. So like my garage was the portal into the VR space. It was really awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. Racket Club. Check it out if you're into sports or like wanting to move. And one of my friends does play this game seated. I don't know how he does it. He's actually pretty decent at it, but he plays seated. So apparently it can be done. That's
some skill. That's some serious skill.
Yeah. Seriously, dude. He must have long arms.
Something like that. Was that your old list, by the way? Or
no, I'm gonna go. I got 2 more here. Yeah,
get 2 more. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I lost count there.
It's okay. I'm going out of order. So
yeah. For me, the next one, and I did this for my YouTube video, is Outta Hand. I am trash at arm-based locomotion. I'm trash. I've tried all these games. Stilt. I tried Stilt. I've tried Outta Hand. No More Rainbows. Gorilla Tag. I'm trash at that movement. But of all those games I just named, Outta Hand's my favorite one, just because it's so damn cute. So you're playing as this creature where you are basically walking on your hands, but not like Gorilla Tag, where like your hands are your actual legs. Yeah, and it's and there's actual combat in it. So like when you punch, like your arm elongates, like your Stretch Armstrong. I'm dating myself with that reference, but that's okay. And then like your fist is gigantic, and you hit like the droid or the robot, whatever you're swinging at. So you can like bounce around and throw punches and stuff. It's a lot of fun. I suck at the platforming because you have to like bounce at. It's like precision jumping with just your hands. There's a hilarious video on my Twitch channel of me trying to do it and dying like 6 times in a row before I stopped. But no, the game's adorable, and if you're good at that style of movement and you want like a platform game with a good story, I highly recommend it. It's excellent.
This is one definitely on my list to hop in. Friend of the show Void is always talking high praises of Outta Hand.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I just have, do things get a bit out of hand in it?
Just gonna let the silence just hang here. Dan, don't cut that out. Just let the silence hang.
Add in a cricket.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So speaking of, I've mentioned Smash Drums. I believe the developer of Smash Drums also developed this game called Blood, BLUD. So I guess Blood. Something like this. Blood. And it is a mixed reality game where sort of cute little unicorns are floating all around your room, and you shoot them or hit them in other ways, and blood be going everywhere. You got to shoot them like 2 or 3 times before they blow up. And then the blood actually like splatters everywhere to the point where they know that blood is going to cover up some UI, and so there's like a clean blood button. I got a kick out of that. It's not. I hopped in for a short period of time, but my sense this isn't a very deep game, if you will, and it was, I think, very cheap. I think under $4, under $5. I got it on sale, I believe.
Nice.
And so I just felt I do feel like it's so ridiculous, but like still easy to play that it could be good for like a teen or somebody, somebody silly. I wouldn't put like a real child in it because of all the,
real child,
like the killing of unicorns, but teen upwards or, whatever age you find appropriate for killing unicorns. And yeah, Blood, BLUD is just a goofy little mini game type of deal. And if you want to show some mixed reality, there you go, Blood. And it is cheap. It is cheap. But don't expect deep. Please don't expect deep. All right, you got one last one?
Yeah, okay. Epic Rollercoasters. They had a Halloween update. I forget. I think it's Candy Boolicious is the name of the roller coaster. It's like 3 minutes long. So like it's one of those things you can hop into real quick. You throw your headset on, like, I don't know what I want to play. Let me go look at this real quick. And it's a free one. It's not like a paid DLC. And you just ride like very cartoonish Halloween roller coaster. And it's fun. There were some points that actually made me jump.
Really?
Yeah.
The coasters don't get your motion sickness going?
Now, no, I would not stick anyone into that as a new player because they're like, oh, I segment Epic Roller Coasters. It's the first time in VR. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Some people can't handle real roller coasters, let alone virtual ones. Don't do that. But no, it doesn't mess with me now, but it would have 3 years ago. So
that makes sense.
But now I've got good VRC legs at this point.
Yeah, I've tried a couple of those Epic roller coaster ones. Those are pretty fine. I have been in a VR chat roller coaster that I was not fine in. Oh. But the glorious thing I have learned about VR roller coasters is if you're not having fun, just close your eyes. Unlike real roller coasters that have G-forces, exactly. It'll be over soon.
Your head's doing this, yeah.
Exactly.
Not blessed. I was like throwing my hands up and everything. It was fun. Yeah.
Good. And last but not least is I got into Maestro, which released last week. I've been playing. I usually play 1 or 2 songs at a time, mostly because I don't know how conductors be doing whole friggin' orchestra shows. My shoulders get so friggin' tired, dude. Like I'll do one song and I'm like, I gotta hold my arms differently. Like what am I doing wrong here?
Right.
But yeah, it's very fun. It's a decent challenge. The hand tracking has worked, I'd say, seamlessly for me thus far. And it's a whole lot of like classical music and whatnot. But it's very well done in my opinion. Just the whole aura, the vibe. After you finish a song, if you've done well, the audience like throws like you turn around and you see all these like they're saying your praises, throwing roses at you, huge applause. It feels great. Cameras are going. You give a nice bow, and then let's say for science, I did one really bad. They're booing and they're throwing tomatoes.
That's awesome.
It's a good time. So Maestro, if you're into, I mean, everybody knows I'm into rhythm games, but this one is a little different in that it's less about like staying active like Synth Riders or Beat Saber, and it has hand tracking. Though, like I said, your arms are going to be up a lot.
Yeah. Can I throw one bit of news that I forgot to mention in part 1?
Go for it.
This Saturday, so probably a day or two after this podcast comes out, is the EGX London show over in Europe. They will have something called the VR Game Spotlight. It's set up by a guy named Callum Hurley. He works with people who make Winlands now. And it's another VR showcase of upcoming games. The live show is at 11:45 British Standard Time. That's a little bit too early for me on Saturday. That's 6:45 a.m. here for us on the East Coast. No, thank you.
You don't want to stream it?
Yeah, okay. So I mean, I have to be up. Well, my company's in it, so I have to be up and as 3 pound games for work. But I'm going back to sleep right after that's over.
Yeah.
But it'll premiere on YouTube, I think, at 1 o'clock that afternoon. And so if you're someone who likes to get hype about stuff that's coming up pretty soon, or just to know what's coming up on the horizon, this is probably going to be this. I'm sorry. This will be the second to last showcase of the year because Upload VR does theirs in December too. So yeah, check that out on Saturday. It's not one of the showcases that gets a ton of hype around it, but this is their 3rd or 4th year doing it.
Very good. Yeah, I had not heard of it, I don't think.
Yeah, and it's on the stage at a gaming con, which is awesome. Like, they give them a full stage to do the presentation. It's really cool.
And with flat gamers there, I presume, then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even better. Yeah. All right, nice. That wraps it up for part 2, which were the games we've been playing, Batman, and one extra little bonus news story. In part 3, we'll talk about the games out this week and our walkabout results. See you there.
Let's Talk Oculus is available on all good podcast platforms and some rubbish ones as well. If you want to see the video version, it's available on YouTube and Spotify. And also, if you love us so much, then consider throwing us $1 at patreon.com/Let's Talk Oculus. Back to the show.
Hello and welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus 156 with Live Open Mike. This is part 3, and he's still here.
I'm still here
to read out some games.
Haven't kicked me out yet.
No, you'll be welcome back. You'll be welcome back. Do you want to start us off here with Batman?
Sure. Batman Arkham Shadow is available now as we record this, and by the time you guys listen to it, become the knight in this groundbreaking entry into the famed Arkham series. It's the 4th of July, It's the 4th of July, and Gotham City is under attack by a new threat, the mysterious Rat King and his cultist devotees. As widespread rioting engulfs the city, Batman races to prevent this so-called Day of Wrath before it all goes wrong. Batman Arkham Shadow.
Yep. I've got to sort out because I did buy a new Quest 3. I've got to sort out getting that redeemed because, I don't really want to spend $50 extra that I don't need to.
Right.
But if 2 weeks go by and they still haven't friggin' solved my problem, I'm probably going to bite the bullet on that one. Next, we have Band Space. Grab your friends and get ready to rock. Band Space is the VR game that lets you form your dream music group, tune up and take the stage, mastering guitar, bass, drums, and keyboard with up to 4 players. Slide to catch notes, power through the drum beat, and dazzle your keyboard. Smash through songs together in 5 different arenas. Tackle a variety of tracks and get the practice in with solo and mixed reality modes. I'll be honest, Mike, I played the demo of this. I was not sold.
Oh, really? Go on.
Yeah, it didn't feel that great to me. The keyboard, for example, the keyboard's got like 4 or 5 different areas you need to hit. It's not like individual keys, and you kind of just like I kind of feel like that cat meme or whatever, the cat GIF playing the piano. I think I remember guitar was like the hard one, and that did feel a little bit better. It was more than just like you had to do actually some gameplay.
Right.
But in general, the whole thing, it might be because it's geared towards playing with friends and I was playing alone.
Right.
But as you know, and like to say a lot, everything's better with friends.
Absolutely.
So, there's Band Space. If you want to give it a try, give it a try. I think the demo's probably still out there. So you don't need to necessarily buy it to figure it out if it's for you.
Yeah, I go to you and my friend Soanan on Twitch for like rhythm game reviews because you guys play them all. So I trust your opinions.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm up next. Motion Soccer. Motion Soccer offers you a virtual reality football experience with realistic 11v11 matches that immerse you in the heart of the beautiful game. With 3 versatile game modes and the ability to switch between them mid-match, you'll have full control over how you experience football. Soccer. You European swine. I'm joking. Tactical mode.
Come on, you're Dan.
Yeah, sorry. Tactical mode. Use mixed reality to place a football field in your real space. Become a strategist by choosing tactics and formations, or control players from a real-time aerial view. That actually sounds cool. First-person mode with classic controls. Play in first person using traditional joystick and button controls. Ideal for playing seated, you'll feel the thrill of every move from the player's perspective, or you go first person mode with expert controls. Control players' feet with motion controllers. Though it requires practice, mastering this mode will allow you to make creative and unique plays. Complete exciting tournaments that will test your tactical and gameplay skills. Customize your team and strategies to prove you're the best on the field. But we don't have official licenses. We've created teams inspired by the best clubs and national teams in the world, offering an authentic view. I am not a soccer guy, so not really for me. But Samson, how do you feel about this?
Honestly, I was watching the trailer, and the trailer looks kind of impressive, if I'm not gonna lie. Like I can't tell exactly, it is just a trailer, but that specifically that tactical mode, that looks kind of interesting, and has been a dream of mine for actually watching live sports. Like I would love to have the tactical view, like have the court in front of me and I can just watch this game on my table. I don't see a price on the store. I don't see myself spending too much money on this one, but hopefully they have some sort of trial or a demo. And if you're into the football, I do think it's probably worth trying. It looks interesting to me. I might have to try it regardless.
I'm someone who loves GM mode and Madden. Like, I don't necessarily want to play the game. I like coaching. So the tactical mode sounds like a lot of fun to me.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, the idea of like having to play a whole soccer game with those controllers is a bit daunting in my head. So I have a hard time understanding how this game really will work and feel. But,
I would imagine you're not doing the full 60 minutes. It's probably condensed like NFL Pro Era is.
Yeah. But we will find out soon enough. But next up, before we find out, we have Vendetta Forever. Vendetta Forever fuses rapid-fire tactical gunplay with effortless acrobatic style and an unapologetic love letter to classic action cinema. Shoot to kill, kill to move. Dispatch foes and seize their weapon in mid-air to propel yourself forward. Strategically plot your next move with each takedown in a frantic fight to the bitter end. Seize never-ending action with copious collectibles and game-changing modifiers as you compete for global leaderboard superiority. And I have heard friend of the show, Wes from Virtual Strangers, is on the top of a lot of these global leaderboards, though I have not seen them myself. And last is 60 unique scenes, 20 modifiers, 50 plus iconic weapons, 50 plus achievements, and, as previously mentioned, online global leaderboards. Vendetta Forever.
Played the demo. It's a lot of fun.
Same. I was not very good at this one.
Me either, but it was so fun.
This one? Yeah, this one will take like, it's that type of game where you play the same level over and over again till you memorize everything and you've got it down. Yeah. Or you can just play through it and not really care about the leaderboards, obviously.
This guy right here could not care less about leaderboards.
I think for something like this, I don't necessarily care about the leaderboard. All right, I don't care about the global leaderboard, but if I see my friends list on there, I might do some talking or like try to get ahead of them. But it honestly, the people on top of global leaderboards put in a lot of work in all the games I've seen. Like as synth riders, my God, to get into top 10 on some of those songs, it work, baby. It takes work.
That's the thing with me. I play so many different games that I can't put you got to put in
master.
time, like you just said, to get to the top of those leaderboards. And I've had time like that. I got too many games to get to. Too many games.
Exactly.
Like Sky Strikers. Segue. Sky Strikers is a fast-paced, high-skill VR competition where every move counts. With physics-driven mechanics and real-time positioning, you need precision and teamwork to succeed. Choose from unique suit classes, each with special abilities designed for offense, defense, or control, and work with your team to dominate the area. Whether rocket jumping across the field or timing the perfect strike, Sky Strikers delivers the intensity of real-world sports in a thrilling virtual experience. I almost feel like there's a void when Echo VR got shut down, and now we're seeing a lot of these non-real sports pop up all over the place.
This one kind of, it gives me, I haven't played like Clawball, but it kind of gives me like claw ball mixed with knock vibes from the
Yeah.
trailer.
The same vibe I got from that.
Interesting how many sports games we're getting. It's, I gotta say, not in a bad way. It's just like I feel like VR doesn't have very many of them. It's good to see more of them popping up.
I love riding in VR. They can't all be shooters. Like, please give us more stuff. Give us more. Give us
You know
different
what?
things.
These sports games need more zombies, actually.
So the Walkabout tournament this week, huh?
Yes. Thank you all you listeners who are staying tuned for my interview with Jan. Just before we get to that, though, a little Walkabout tournament. It is season 6. And before I get into week 3, we'll preface with week 4's courses, which will be Widow's Walkabout Easy, trying to set the mood with, Halloween. And Atlantis Hard with low gravity on. Good luck.
The Hard Atlantis course is one of the best looking courses in that game. It's so beautiful.
The lights, the first time I hopped in that.
So good. So good.
I will say that's also one that is preferable on my PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
Really pops. Anyway, week 3, we had Venice Easy and Mars Hard, low gravity. And my God, was that a challenge for me. But let me get into results. So for Easy, our top 3 were Liana, Maestro, and Rockin' Horse Brat with -8, -8, and -13.
Jeez.
And there's actually a tie in there, so let me go down one, which there's actually another tie. Because Cobalt Dave and the Healing Entree both had -6. So there's your top 3, which is really a top 5 for Easy. And I was way down there. I barely got, I was just par, just 0.
Yeah.
God bless you, Gilman. 20.
Just there.
All right.
Just there for the vibes. Hanging out. Having a good time.
Gilman's always the first to submit, too. As soon as I say the courses, like within an hour, often, I'm getting those results back. I love it.
Yeah.
Keep at it, Gilman. Keep at it. The hard course, though, Mars Hard, low gravity. Our top 3, which will be a top 4, is Dimples with -1, Maestro with -1, Liana with -2, and Rockin' Horse Brat with -7. And let me tell you, the low gravity mode is no joke on these hard courses, because you got to get that exactly right, and you just have no idea really where that ball is going to be flying.
I'm so bad at that. I'm so bad at low gravity.
As you can see, it's like, there's very few minuses, then a 1, 2, and then in the 20s.
Yeah.
Very reasonable score on that map. But now let me get to the races. It's a race to the finish, if you will. And in our races, easy Venice mode. Our top 3 were Maestro. Maestro finishing the top 3 every single course so far. He is playing music. Insert Maestro joke. Maestro had 6 minutes. Yours truly had 5 minutes and 48 seconds. And in first place, Healing Entree, 5 minutes and 38 seconds.
GG's Entree.
Healing Entree is giving me a run for my money. And I will say, luckily, Healing Entree only had time for the easy course this week. So getting to the hard courses, our top 3 were Liana, Rockin' Horse Brat, and yours truly, with 7 minutes and 50 seconds, 7 minutes and 16 seconds, and 6 minutes and 49 seconds, respectively. I will say I was very happy to get under 7 minutes.
You're the only one who did it.
Yeah. But I basically I spent the hard course, like the scores one, just keeping in mind what I'm gonna do for my race mode, and then boom, right afterwards, race mode in. Yeah, so there you have it. Week 3 results. Week 4, Widow's Walkabout Easy, Atlantis Hard, low gravity mode. Come on down, join us for a week or 2, or all of them. If you take part in at least 1 week, you'll be enrolled in a Quest Cash giveaway. Unless you live out of America, then you will win a $15 game. So yeah, Mike, thank you so much for joining me. I had a great time these last 2 episodes with you. It's going to be weird having a British guy across from me again. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Have any final words for us?
No, just thank you for having me. I'm happy to fill in whenever you or Dan are out. Love doing this. This is a lot of fun. Thank you.
Fantastic stuff. Check out Live Open Mic on YouTube. Are you on other things? Twitch,
and YouTube, Twitch, and Uncle Elon's website.
Yep.
It's like formerly known as Twitter. That's where I'm primarily at.
You haven't moved over to the Blue Sky yet?
I have a Blue Sky account. I don't think I've opened it since I signed up.
Yeah, so. I keep forgetting to. Until everybody's actually off of Twitter, I don't know that I'm going to regularly use it. There's too many things out there.
Thing. Yeah, Mastodon too, same thing. I have an account just because I wanted to register my name, but that's it. I haven't done anything with it.
That makes sense because in that Instagram situation where there's another Live Open Mic out there.
2 posts in 10 years.
And he won't even give up the handle.
Nope. That's annoying.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
But yeah, man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep, and thank you for coming down. See you all next week when I have Dan back. Or really, Dan has me back because we all know who hosts.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Samson.
Hello, and welcome back to Let's Talk Oculus. I'm here with Jan, who's here to talk to me about this new free-to-play VR multiplayer game, Oktoberfest. Welcome, Jan, and can you tell listeners a little bit about yourself and maybe a little bit about Oktoberfest?
Sure. Hi, nice to be there. And I'm Jan, creative director at K5 Factory in Munich. We are a company specializing on VR, AR, and XR content and gaming. Founded 2018. And my personal background is in filmmaking and animation. So 3D animation, that's where I started. There's a car blinking. Don't mind that. Yeah. So that's where I started from. And that was 2014 when I finished my studies. And that was also the time where the Oculus Kickstarter happened. And where I got the DK1. And because I was, already familiar with 3D animation so much, with virtual worlds, and of course I've been a gamer since I was a kid, I really jumped onto that new medium. And it was just fascinating to me and drew all my attention to it. And since then, I'm also working in VR. And professionally, I would say I started working in the medium 2017-ish. Before that, I was still doing classic 2D, like 3D animation, but 2D in a sense of not all around you on a screen. And that's briefly where I'm coming from.
So I've got to ask what your first VR game or experience was. Do you remember?
My personal first experience in VR.
Yeah.
So I think that was the Tuscany demo, as simple as that, because that was the demo that came along I don't know like how many still know it, but that was the demo that was basically included in the DK1 Kickstarter thing from Oculus. And it was just a Unity scene of a little nice house in Tuscany, Italy. Of course, in the game graphics, there was no scanning back then. And I think closely followed by a 360-degree roller coaster video. And,
wow, that sounds intense.
Yeah, that was really intense, but also nice. And then one of the other very early experiences I still remember was trying Half-Life 2 with the DK1, and that was really hard. That was one of the worst motion sickness experiences I had, because back then the first headset, it didn't even have positional tracking. So the only thing you could do was turn your head, and if you moved it to the side, it wouldn't pick up that movement. And that combined with running through a classic third-person shooter, oh God, that created so much motion sickness. And I think since then I'm kind of cured of that, because since then I never experienced that kind of motion sickness. You
built up again. Those VR legs, yeah. real quick. Yeah. Wow, that's incredible. And our listeners might be familiar with this, but VR animation movies like the Line, what this is a Halloween one, something Your Eyes, I forget. But
Gloomy
I
Eyes.
love I love VR like movies in that vein. Have you ever created one, or is that something you've ever thought of, combining your two passions there?
Definitely. It was something that basically where I started from, because so first of all, a good friend of mine, also my former boss at the first company I worked for. The first company I've worked for was in southern Germany, Studio Soy, and one of the co-founders became the creative director of the story studio at the Oculus story studio. And he specialized in that field. He like, back then, right now he's doing something else, but he did 3D animated films for VR. And definitely it was something that I thought a lot about, and I tried many of them. Then there was also the Google studio. I forgot the name of that one. Google had a department as well. They did VR animation films. So they were not interactive, but they were basically 360-degree experiences. And I tried many of them, and then I actually realized that's not what I want to do, because if I'm going to make a film, I want to have it, on this. I want to be able to control the framing.
What they're seeing, yeah.
Yes. And this is something that I realized was bothering me about the VR films, that I always had to sit on a swivel chair to experience them. Like if I would be sitting on a normal chair, and stuff is going to happen behind
you'd
me.
You're always going to miss something. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I thought, so why do that? I mean, it's nice to feel present in a scene, definitely.
Yeah.
But when I'm watching a film, like, I want to experience the story. I want to experience the emotion. And I had the feeling in VR films, I was so busy with navigating myself as an audience, in that world, that it actually took away. Yes, yeah. I lost focus. And so I realized VR is a medium that has to be interactive. And it doesn't say that it's not something that you can use for great storytelling. Quite the contrary. I think you can do really interesting storytelling in VR, but it always has to be something like more like a theater kind of play that you can. There are those immersive theaters.
What to focus on.
Yes, and where you are in a space, but you can still move around. You can decide where you want to go. You can decide where you want to look at. And that's the challenge. You can then try to tell a story there, and that's great. But don't limit the audience to just be sitting there and just turning around.
Yeah,
when you're doing it in VR.
I completely agree. Well, that's enough of my interests. Let's get into what you're here for, and let's talk a little bit about Oktoberfest. And I'm curious. I probably know a little bit of where the premise originated, the Oktoberfest, but what was the inspiration for it, and how did it come about?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we're a Munich-based company. I grew up in Munich, so Oktoberfest takes place in Munich every year, and it's something we know, like all of us knows. I have to say, I haven't been the biggest Oktoberfest attendant. That like there are people who go there every year. I wasn't one of those, but like when we were working at K5, when we were working on, there was a time when had a big focus on virtual meeting rooms when we were exploring that. You can guess why we were doing that. That was during the pandemic.
Yep.
And while we were exploring that, I realized that one of the very special things about VR that I realized before, of course, was the feeling of presence. Like, this is the first thing you experience putting on a VR headset. You think, okay, I'm somewhere else. And this is the one thing. You are somewhere. But the other thing that's really unique about the medium and that I discovered during that period is you can also feel the presence of another person. And this presence of the other person, like this other person could just be a very stylized avatar. It could be 3 boxes, 2 boxes for the hands, 1 box for the head. And you would, with the microphone enabled, you will have a feeling for that person. It's not like we are now looking at each other at the screen. Like, I see you, I see your facial expressions. That's great. Of course, that's hard to recreate in VR. But I don't have a feeling of you being there. And
100%.
This is so interesting about VR. And for me, this is like the thing about the medium. You cannot have that in any other medium currently. So when we were thinking about, okay, virtual meeting rooms, really interesting to engage with other people, feel them. It was just an idea, inspiration, I don't know, that we thought, okay, how can we, because we were thinking about how can you gamify such experiences. And then we thought, hey, Oktoberfest is actually something that fits really well. And then again, I have to explain a bit, because Oktoberfest, for most people, I guess it's the same for you, you think about beer probably, right? Most of the people, their mental image is, okay, there's a, big hall, big beer, steins, and, like people dancing, having fun, big food, and also drunken people. This is the image most of the people have. And however, Oktoberfest is more than that. There is a big fun fair around it. So, and I don't know, this is something I or the rest of our company, everyone in Munich knows, because when you have been there, there are roller coasters, there are attractions, booths, I don't know.
Well, so it's like a carnival type of deal as well.
Exactly, it's a carnival. But this is not what it's known for. Of course, it's a big beer fest. So, yeah, of course, people talk about beer, and that's what is in the minds. But that it is actually a big carnival is because we as people in Munich, we go there as kids, right?
So
because
I was going to say, it's more of a family event.
Yes, it is a family event. And of course, the families don't go into the big beer tents. Like, you go there once you're, 16, where you're allowed to drink beer in Germany. And then you start going there. And of course, this is completely different. But during the day, there are big, many families. And it's this is what always made up a big portion of my memory of Oktoberfest. And that's why we had that idea, because the idea is to create a virtual fun fair. That's what we wanted to do. A meeting room, basically, that is very gamified. And the idea was, the beer on the Oktoberfest, this is just something that people don't go there to drink beer. It's not like a wine tasting. It's not where you want to experience the liquid.
Right.
You're drinking
to get drunk
it.
there.
Yeah, basically, and have a good time. And as we all know, alcohol facilitates getting in touch with strangers, lowering the social anxiety and all of that. And you just want that to have a nice social experience. And we thought, okay, in a social VR experience, what could be the counterpart? And it's actually gaming. When you start playing games with other people, this is also where you start engaging in a conversation or, getting closer to each other and, meeting, like it's easier to get in a conversation while playing a game. And that's why we thought Oktoberfest could be a really nice social VR game, because it has those attractions, it has those roller coasters. You go there, everything is multiplayer that you can do, and it allows you to just have a nice time with friends or even strangers.
So you mentioned it's multiplayer and a great place to hang out. How many people can be in one instance of the game?
So currently it's, I think, 20 to 24 or something. We're currently still figuring that out. What is the best performance? Because
right.
So, but theoretically, there's no limit in sense of the server is going down or something like. It's more like, okay, what is the headset able to
Capable
process?
Of, right.
Yes. So we can set the limit to 100, but that wouldn't be enjoyable.
No frames. So,
yeah. So at the of course, if one instance is full, it starts a new instance, and we have systems where you can still make sure that you meet the persons you want to meet, and even if they're in another instance.
And I know it's got mics, obviously, so you can socialize. Is it localized, or can you hear everybody on your server?
So all the sounds that we have in game are spatialized. So you hear the voices of the others when you get close, but the same applies for the music, the ambient sounds, and all of those aspects.
I will say, as I was walking through the carnival, you do feel like you're at a carnival, because of the audio. The sounds are changing as you're walking through, and you feel the ambiance. It is that you did nail that, I'd say.
Thank you.
Now let's move on to what you've mentioned, that there are lots of games to play with your friends. What games are in it, and maybe what was the hardest game to implement?
So, we started with a game that's currently not in there, but we have that will hopefully follow soon after launch. It's a bumper cars game, but what we currently have in there, again, and this is all based on the real Oktoberfest. So everything that you find in our game, you can also do on the real thing. So we have a Cantos game, but very simple. You grab a ball, you throw it at cans, and we have different levels that you have different complexity of cans stacked, and there are explosive cans, and some basically puzzles how to solve those levels. We have a shooting range, which is also very typical on the Oktoberfest, which is crazy if you think about it. Of course, on the real one, they have those air guns, but still, they're air guns. And on the real one, you have drunken people around using those air guns. Hard to imagine.
Yeah, and all the beer.
And all the beer. So, but this is very typical. And it also has a nice social aspect that we are still about to implement, but you can shoot roses there on the real one. And then you have a rose that you can give your loved one or someone you might want to give it, yet you don't know yet. So we have that, and it also is consists of several levels. We have a game that is a kind of physics simulation game that is also based on a real game on Oktoberfest, that you have a hammer and a catapult, and you have to catapult frogs into flowers. And this is a game.
Are they real frogs?
No, and of course not. In the real Oktoberfest, it's like those big rubber frogs.
Okay, yeah.
And you have that pond of water in the middle with those lilies, and you have to aim at the lilies with those very jiggly frogs. And whenever you land a frog in one of the flower, you win a prize on the real one. It's impossible. You cannot hit those flowers. It's so difficult. I think you get 20 frogs when you play one round there, and you won't hit one.
Never. Yeah.
It's just too complex. But it's very fun to do, and people do that. And of course, occasionally people win a prize. And we thought, hey, that's really funny because it's so physical. And that's what I think is so important about the medium in VR, that you have to move something, right? So a shooting game is fun, but I think it's not very, it's not something that profits from the possibilities of VR. Like maybe an arrow shooting game, yes, because you have to do that with your hands. But that's why we implemented that frog game, because there you have this hammer and you have to hit the catapult, aim with the catapult to aim these frogs into the flowers. And it's in our game, it's actually simpler than the real one. and this one is basically also a multiplayer game. Everyone tries to hit those flowers and you're collecting coins. And so those are the 3 games that you play on the big fairground. And then Oktoberfest also has those beer tents in real. And of course, we also wanted to recreate them. And the big question at the beginning of the project was, okay, what can people play inside those tents? Because in the real tent, you go there, you drink beer, you eat nice food, you dance, and you also listen to music. They always have a live band there. We said, okay, virtual food is a nice gimmick, but that could be it. So that also virtual drinks. That, I mean, it's a gimmick, but it's not, can't be the core of the thing.
Yeah.
So, and we were wondering, okay, what would be a nice game inside a beer tent? And I don't know if maybe you have seen something like that on the internet, like those waiters that run around with 30 big steins of
with
beer.
the white shirts and the green like overall type of deals.
Yeah. So we said, okay, this is a nice game. So we have a server or waiter game where you have to run through the tent and you see people raising their hand, ordering stuff, and then you have to grab the stuff and bring it to them. And this is, in time, and also it's all multiplayer again. And so if someone else plays the same game, you would see that person doing the same thing, grabbing food, bringing it around. And then like the other thing that we implemented in the tent is a music game, a rhythm game. And when we started working on the Oktoberfest game, it was the time where Trombone Champ came out. And this was, I really loved that game when it came out. And I just thought, okay, those bands in the real Oktoberfest, they are traditional music bands. And the traditional Bavarian music is brass band. Perfect. And it was just perfectly fitting. And we thought, okay, let's recreate that in VR. And so we now have a trombone game where you play the trombone on a stage, and the other players who might currently be playing the waiter game, they would hear you playing the trombone. So
wow,
this is So
that's pretty cool.
That was the whole concept was everything is multiplayer. So basically, it's a rhythm game that is. It's not multiplayer in the sense that you play together in a band. We tried that as well, but with the latency, that's really difficult.
Very difficult.
Maybe at some point we're going to manage to do that, or we just try, and it's it could also be fun that people struggle with it. Maybe at some point, but for now it's really just one person playing, and the other people in the tent can listen to it. And we have a couple of songs. I think, and then we have 2 other games, which you can only play together with one person. So it's we call it player-to-player games. Mm-hmm. You have to do a high five in the game, and then it opens a menu, and then you play a rock, paper, scissors game. We just do the right gesture.
That is pretty cool. I don't think I've done that yet in VR.
Yeah. Well, we were thinking, okay, because it's a social game, we want to add purely social mini games, and then we thought about, okay, what are games that you can just play like this without a board or without cards or like this, and rock paper scissors was one, and then the other one was we came up with a patty cake kind of game where you have to clap your hands with another person, and there's this grid of 3x3 appearing in front of you, and you see in the grid you see hand symbols, and then you basically have to use the right hand to hit those squares and to clap the hand of the other
certain
person.
Times,
and this gets faster, and of course there's a rhythm and so on. And this is also one game we have in there. It's very early stages. So at the moment, it's very simple. You just, those hands light up and you have to hit the right boxes. But we want to make that, a bit more complex, to maybe even add a rhythm to it that you hear. And you have to, the big goal is to create a co-op rhythm game in VR.
Challenge.
Yeah.
Latency and all that. Yeah.
And then we have 3 motion rides. That's basically most of the things you can experience.
Very good. Very good. Do you have a favorite one
of those games? Yeah, I have to say the games in the tent I really like, because like the waiter game I think is really fun, because you run around, and of course the trombone one, and I also like the clapping game, because it's just once you get into that rhythm and you're doing it with another person and the other person also is in the rhythm, then it feels really satisfying.
Yeah.
Just so simple, but really satisfying. Yeah.
Nice. Were there any games that were maybe left on the cutting room floor that you want to implement or might have to implement in the future, or that just got left behind?
Yeah, we have 2 other games, or no, 3 actually, that exist and are playable, but they are in a state where we didn't want to put them in the release version. So there's one game that's the beer tapping game, where you just you get orders and you have to tap the drinks. Like you have different kind of tapping stations and you have to fill the glasses and just be quick enough.
Okay. Yep.
And
I can see that being combined with the having to serve.
The serve. Yeah. This is the goal, that we have one person tapping it behind the counter, or maybe even preparing the food, because the serving game is also with food. So that would be amazing if we are able to pull that off. Then we have a game, Bumper Cars, as I said, which I also really like. Asking about what is the favorite game. It's hard to say what the favorite is, to be honest, because I've been working on all
I
of
understand.
them.
It's like picking a favorite child.
Yeah. So the Bumper Cars games is really fun, because it's, you're crashing into other players. You can pick up power-ups and so on. It was the first game we worked on. Spent a lot of time on that, figuring out the whole multiplayer, the whole physics system and so on. But ultimately we had to do some adjustments in our server structure, which would have meant that we recreate big parts of that game. So we said, okay, we do that after launch. And then we also have a obstacle course game. You might ask, why is there an obstacle course game in Oktoberfest? And it's actually, on the real Oktoberfest, you have these attractions where you go in there. It's like a fun house. And then you have to, there's one that is called Mirror Labyrinth, basically on the real Oktoberfest. So you go in there and you have like all these walls that are mirrors or glass walls or not. And you can imagine like drunken people inside this thing. It's so fun.
Into all the walls.
Like, of course, it will be difficult to create a mirror game in VR, but there are also things where you have to walk over turning wheels, like cylinders that turn like that. You walk inside and you have to stay on your feet. And of course, it's really fun when you see people like after 1 or 2.
Yeah, tipsy.
Yeah, but this is also something we thought could be really nice to recreate in VR. And we created a game where you have to basically run using your hands. So you're doing this motion to run, and then you can
stride.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can throw your hands down to jump, and then you run through those levels. We have that also working, but still it's in a state where it's not polished enough that we want to publish it. But nice thing about this is as well that in the real world, when you're going into those parkours, of course it's very limited because the space is not that big and so on. But in VR, you can just open a whole new world, right?
Never limited by space.
Yeah. And those are the 3 things that are there and wait to be released when they are done.
So that was the games. Now you've mentioned that there are also rides in this game. So can we talk a little bit about the rides? What's in there? And yeah.
So as I said, like everything that you see in the game is based on a real counterpart. Even all the visuals, the start scene, there you're in a little park. It's based on a park in Munich. Every attraction that you see, like there is a real reference that looks very similar to it. And the same for the motion rides. The motion rides we created are based on real motion rides. So we have 3 types in there of, different intensity. So the first one is a classic Ferris wheel. You sit in your little cabin, goes around, and you can just watch around. You experience the nice view. And so far you can only sit alone in one cabin, but we want to make it in a way that you can also sit together and just have a good time sitting in there. Yeah. And then we have a sky dive, it's called, also based on a real attraction. So I don't know if you know the real ones. It's basically a tower, and you're sitting on a kind of donut shape, and it goes up. I don't know, 30 meters in the sky, and then it falls down.
Yep.
We created the same thing because, falling down in VR just works very well. You get that nice feeling in your stomach. So, and it's not that hard in terms of motion sickness. It's really just that moment where you fall down, but then it's over already. And then we have Topspin. Topspin is one attraction that is very classic on the Oktoberfest. And it's one of those motion rides where you sit on a kind of bench, and the bench is attached to 2 arms, and those 2 arms start rotating, and the bench in itself is also rotating. So there's a lot of rotating going on. Yeah, double rotation. That's why it's called top spin, because when those 2 arms go to the top, then they spin up there, and there's even a little water fountain that your face gonna dip in the real thing. So,
so is this the most intense one?
In the game, yes. I wouldn't say on the real Oktoberfest. There are more intense ones, but those ones we just didn't recreate because a carousel, I don't think that makes sense in VR because the turning, it's not nice. But top spin, we thought could be fun. We tried it, and it's actually fun. Some people don't like it because it's too intense, but there are others who really enjoy it, and it's always really fun to see when people really in there having a great time.
It does sound like the place to be if you want a big group of friends. All come in, and it's free to play. So why not meet up there? Yeah, and the good thing is you can basically be on the top spin together with others. Then when you look to the right or to the left, you see the other players. Also, you would see someone just on the skydive going up into on that tower, and then and the Ferris wheel person's watching it all as well. Exactly. So it is free to play. How are you monetizing this? Yeah. So how do you keep the lights on? Yeah. Hopefully, we're gonna keep them on through avatar customizations. That's our approach here. So why did we choose free to play? So on the one hand, it's also, we thought, authentic, because the Oktoberfest, the real one, you don't pay any entry. It's just open. You can go there. You don't even have to pay when you want to go in the tent. Is it put on by the government? Yeah, it's the city of Munich that puts it on. And it has a very old tradition as well. Like, it's 200 years old. In the beginning, like the first Oktoberfest, it was a wedding celebration. So the king of Bavaria and his princess, they got married, and they said, "Hey, let's invite all the people of Bavaria or Munich and have a big celebration." And that was the first Oktoberfest. And because they liked it so much, they said, "Hey, let's do that every year." Like, since 200 years. And because Munich is a big, beer center, they started selling beer, and now eventually it became to that thing where it's like now mostly now about that. And so it has always been for free.
And that's also where we thought free-to-play is a good approach. Also, of course, social VR, we want to get people in there as much as possible. And when it's a free game, we just hope there's not, people are just going to install it, try it out. And then, as it turned out in other games, avatar customization is something you want to do when you're playing a social VR game, because
100%.
that's you want to represent yourself in a way. And also that fits great to Oktoberfest, because when people go to the Oktoberfest, they dress up as well in real. And because you might have seen it, that, lederhosen and the traditional Bavarian dresses.
I did. I didn't have enough credits for it.
But this is on the real thing as well. That people getting their lederhosen out and putting them on when they go there. And we just thought, that's so cool. It just fits that we can, even that part where you customize your avatar is something that people actually do on the real thing. And not everyone, of course. But some.
Yeah, I do think that's definitely worked for several other free VR games I know of. Like one I play is Grab VR.
Yeah, cool.
I think that's, and then if you don't want to, you don't have to.
Yeah, you can still experience it.
So I did notice in the game, when you're playing the shooting and all the carnival games, you win coins, and you can also use those, correct? So you can you can win the currency to get the customization without using real money as well.
Right, that's it. But it's not that you have to spend the in-game currency to win any game. So we're not going to do any pay-to-win mechanics in there.
Very good. Is there anything I've missed that you'd like to talk about?
Maybe one thing. So because Oktoberfest had this very big tradition, there's so much little stories behind it, and also that's something I realized when we did our research, where everybody is laughing when we said we did our research on Oktoberfest last year. I went there like every day for 2 weeks.
We're just doing science. We're here for science, right? I need another beer.
No, but in fact, we really took a lot of photos, did a lot of field recordings for the audio, because I think audio is also so important in VR, spatial audio. And it's so nice to see like the stories behind those attractions. Some of them, they're over 100 years old. They're, family businesses. It's just a carousel. Been there since 100 years. And they were so welcoming. And it was just so nice to talk to these people. And they were so open, and they shared their stories and talked a lot about, how it came about that they started to have something there, and those aspects we want to also highlight with the game. Currently, we're doing it in a very simple manner, that we're just showing photos of the real place together with a little fun fact in the loading screens. Mm-hmm. But further down the line, we want to have little quests where you talk to NPCs, and they would
use their like real backstory. Yeah, very cool.
And they would tell you a bit about the real place and some of the culture behind that, and that in the end people might take away that Oktoberfest is a bit more than just the beer.
How long is the Oktoberfest festival?
You mean the real one?
Yeah.
It's about, I think last year it was like 17 days. It's always 2 weeks.
How do these people that run these things like have other jobs that they then just like, I got to take my vacation?
So you have to know that the Oktoberfest is something that has to be built every year new. So there is this open space in Munich. It's a big lawn, and there's a law that says nothing is of permanent is allowed to be built there. So no buildings. So those huge halls and tents, they have to be built anew every year. And then they have to be taken down again. And the same for the attractions. And that's pretty amazing how they, manage to do all that every year. And so all those attraction owners, they basically tour from one festival to the next. That's their thing. And during Oktoberfest, they live on the Oktoberfest. So behind the attractions, you have those, how do you call it, the vans or the
like sleeping quarters or
something?
Like,
those things that you
like
attach.
RVs?
Yes, exactly. RVs.
Okay. Yep.
And they sleep on the on the Oktoberfest behind their attractions.
I want to see that in the game too.
You can see it actually. When you go up with the skydive attraction, you see that there are those RVs.
Wow. Wow. You really did get it all, huh?
Yeah. It's authentic. That's what we're aiming for.
Well, there you have it. It's Oktoberfest, the free-to-play VR multiplayer social game. And when is it releasing?
It's in 1 week, a bit less than 1 week. So in Germany, it's the 21st. It's the same day when the real Oktoberfest starts, because the real Oktoberfest starts in September. That's
very nice.
Has always been like that.
Like
it's odd, but I think at some point they moved it earlier because the weather in Munich is always so shitty. So
makes sense.
That's when it's come out. So in 6 days, will be
all right. Well,
US the 20th then.
Yeah, I'm not sure when this is airing, but I'm nearly certain it'll be after that. So it is already out there on the store, and it's free to play. So get it, check it out, and play some authentic Oktoberfest games with your friends. Yeah. Thank you for joining me, Jan. Wow, I almost Americanized it.
That's fine. Thank you so much, Samson, for having me.
And do you want to plug Oktoberfest in any way, your socials? Or
Definitely. Please, join our Discord. That's where the community is. We have a website, oktoberfest.game. If you visit that one, you will find all our links. And I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you for joining.
Thank you for
everybody. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.